What up, nerds? Bujo Head Jody here. I have been bullet journaling since 2017, and I would like to share my June 2021 weekly spreads with you in this beautiful blue bullet journal that we have here. So, Pride Month, we're going to continue to work on these weekly spreads. If you did not see my May weeklies, you don't know yet, but welcome. We have a new layout that we've been working with, and I'm happy to report that my May layout worked wonderfully. So I'm doing basically the same thing again in June. We are going with the Pride Month theme. So we've got a little bitty note section here in the historical pride flag colors. I do really like these spreads. They came out beautifully. I'm basically doing a bunch of the different pride flags and using that to denote each section. So most of these pages are just full of color. And I got to mix and match and decide which ones I wanted to put next to each other. I think the tough part was definitely some of the spacing, because I wanted to make sure that I had enough lines for each section, and so each flag has a different number of stripes to it. So sometimes that can get a little mathy, which I know is a problem for some people in the LGBTQIA, but it is not for me. Certified bisexual here, loves math, was a science major. I basically do this bullet journal because I like to do math, because a lot of what I do in this bullet journal is math. Most of what I do for the weeklies are not, but all of sort of my monthly spreads are based on what my financials are doing, and there's a lot of math involved with that, and I do a lot of that just by hand or I don't know, it's fun times. Anyway, so first little section, a little note section, it's just basically because there's no Monday beginning this month, so there's a little extra room there. And then the first section is for the week, and that is the non-binary flag. Obviously, if I get any of these wrong, I'm doing this all by memory, so please correct me. But yeah, so this first section is for the week, and that I will write down sort of like weekly tasks, or at least tasks that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure which day I'm going to do this. We're just going to write them down, get them out of my head, make sure they're on paper, so that I can then assign them to a different day if I want to, or just, keep writing them down. And then the top section here, which this is the aromantic flag, is sort of my daily tasks, stuff that I repeat either every day or like twice a week or something like that. So these different things which I've talked about, I use the same exact ones that I used in May. I believe I talked about them a lot in May, but they include my exercise regime that I've been doing. I run, and I'm trying to work on my push-ups. Not the strongest person, but we've got goals. We got things to do, and we're doing them great. And then I play Pokemon Go, so just reminding myself to do all my little daily tasks for that. Red Sox fan, so I write down when the games are happening each week so I can catch them. And then have a dog, need to work on her nails. At least make sure she lets me touch her feet because she's not happy about that. So we do training on that every, not every day, but a couple times a week. Reminding myself to post to Instagram. I've got some t-shirt blankets that I need to be making. I've got some reading that I need to be doing. Dishes, laundry, trash and recycling, and doing stuff for my Bujo. So lots of different tasks up in that first top section there. Middle section, which is getting the transgender flag treatment right there. That's sort of general tasks. It's like one-off. So stuff, I need to clean the windows. Put it in there. And then the bottom there, that pansexual flag. Yeah, I didn't miss that. I knew that was happening. That's going to be my... I always write down the best thing that happened, the worst thing that happened that day, and then something I'm looking forward to. You may know it as the rose, thorn, and bud. So we're using the gray fine liner to denote what day. But yeah, very cute. We're doing basically the same thing every week, just different flags. So different configurations, different combinations of colors. This whole month is very colorful. It's very pretty. I recommend, And it's nice because we're sort of denoting each line, and that's basically what my weeklies end up being. It's just sort of lists of tasks, of things that happened. So I think that's really cute. So the first two spreads has the extra section of notes. From now on, we only have 4 sections for each, 2 pages. The first will always be that weekly list, and then the top section, which are my daily tasks, the middle section, which are my one-off tasks, and then the bottom section, which is best thing, worst thing I'm looking forward to. So for this week, for our weekly section, that is the lesbian flag, looking pretty. The daily tasks, habits, I guess. I used to put these up in with my monthly spreads, but I really like putting them, I really like putting them with sort of the dailies / weeklies, because if I have a bad day or I'm tired, I can always sort of scale back on things. Or if I know I'm going out to dinner with someone, I'm not going to be able to do, my reading that night. I'm going to be out with friends. So I don't put it down and I don't feel bad about not doing it. And if I don't feel bad about not doing it, I'm more likely to do it the next day because I feel like I'm more on task. Oh, a little life hack for someone who needs a lot of encouragement. So that bisexual flag there, my little baby. Those are my daily habits. And they also include so actually where I live, we have trash and recycling twice a week. So I write down those days. So whether or not I'm taking out, I have trash or recycling to take out, I know what nights those are, and so I can remember to go do that so that it doesn't pile up. Yeah, stuff like that. It's also nice because there's a lot of room there then to also put little notes about the habit that I'm doing. So like for my reading, I like to put down what page I want to make it to. Generally, I'll try to get through 50 pages a night. So I'll sort of look ahead of like, okay, where does the next couple of chapters end? Where can I reasonably get to? What's my goal, basically? I am currently trying to finish my 2019 goal of reading all the books that I own that I haven't read yet. We're almost there. We're almost done. It's 2021. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, we've got the demisexual flag for the one-off tasks section, and then the demi-romantic flag for the best thing, worst thing I'm looking forward to section. I actually really liked how I decided to do the little triangles. Instead of like filling in the full triangle, I just sort of highlighted those lines, but in progressively longer sections, so it came out looking like a triangle. Then our next two spreads here, this will be the 14th through the 20th of June. And we have for our weekly section the gender fluid flag, which I am not actually sure if I kept all the pinks in order, so I cannot guarantee that this is the same gender fluid flag that we'll have later, or even the same one that was done in the monthly spread. I'm sure some eagle-eyed viewers will let us know. Top section with our daily habits. We'll have the asexual flag. And you'll actually notice that, so you see this, the top line, or the top stripe, I guess, the black, uses 3 lines. Then the white, which obviously representing with no color, also has 3. And then the gray has 3, but then that purple/pink has 4, because I need that many lines for the title and then the number of habits that I have. So we're not doing exactly quite the correct like proportions on the stripes. Although, note on the bisexual flag, a lot of times it's shown with a very thin purple middle stripe, which I never really understood. And I did try to look this up as to why that was. And I could not find a reason why it wasn't all equal in most cases, because every time I've drawn it or like, I don't know, wanted it to be represented, or I imagine it, I always imagine it as 3 equal sections. But obviously I had to look up a lot of these flags to make sure I had the right colors and the right proportions and all that. And like I kept finding the bisexual flag with the very thin purple strip. It's very interesting. So I wonder if someone could explain that to me. I don't know. So yeah, then the bottom section here for my rose, my thorn, and my bud is the demisexual flag, and then middle section is that non-binary flag. So you will notice that we are starting to repeat flags, and I did try to mix it up a little bit. So that was definitely, I don't know, part of the fun / difficulty of this month, was sort of keeping track of the flags, the combinations that they've been used in, and then also trying to fit them into the sections that they were supposed to cover, and sort of like that, you know, the number of rows that are going to be used, and how many colors are going to be available. So it's definitely, this one was like not surprisingly, but just like interestingly difficult in this way. I mean, it didn't really help that I didn't do a whole lot of pre-planning with this. So we've got the weekly task list here with the transgender flag, and then the aromantic flag for my daily habits. If anybody wants to know, it is 6 boxes for each day. So that is what I am counting there. And then on each side, there's 1 box extra. Day of the week and the date goes up top. And then the bottom section on this one My beloved bisexual flag. And then the middle section for the one-off tasks will be the pansexual flag. The reason I would always do the bottom section first here is because though that section needs a certain number of lines, so I wanted to make sure that it was going to get, you know, its designated space. Whereas the one-off tasks, it's basically just filler. It's for the rest of the page. The habits are all pre-established. There's just a certain number of them, and so there's a certain number of lines that I needed. And then the best thing, worst thing I'm looking forward to, take 3 lines each, just to give myself enough space to put something, but not too much that I need to write a novel. So then it's basically default. The rest is my one-off tasks section. So that's why I always did that in that order. And now for the last couple days of the month, I really only need this left-hand side of the page. So for our weekly spread, we've got our asexual flag. And actually, just for reference, the very top of this weekly list, I actually list the names of each of the habits that I'm doing. So whether or not it's actually assigned for each day, I put in that specific day, but I do have the same list, and it's always in the same order. And so I have a reference list in the weekly list. So that very top section that's next to this section that I'm working on, which I'm going to put my actual habits in, that contains the weekly sort of reference point for my habits. And then so my habit section, which I only need this left-hand side of the page for. Is that demi-romantic? With the lovely green. And we do the bottom section, which this is the lesbian flag, which this one I think is probably the most sort of changed ratio of the lines that I've used, and that's because I need to, for this section, I need to denote what is the best thing, worst thing, and thing I'm looking forward to lines. So that's why the middle 3 lines are all squished into the middle section. So I could denote the top one is the best thing, the bottom thing is the thing I'm looking forward to, and then the 3-colored middle section is the worst thing. And then my one-off tasks is the gender fluid flag. And then we have this whole other side of the page, which sometimes I would use for the next month, but I actually I did really enjoy having a very large sort of note section, aka a brain dump section, last month. So I am going ahead and I'm making a giant Progress Pride flag for my brain dump section. So this was I didn't really do any counting, so it was a little bit off the cuff. I wasn't sure how I was doing it. I do wish I had done... Yeah, I'm not sure if doing like I have done other sections in this weekly would have worked out better. Like if I had only done like small little, bits of the line, or if I had done just like, sort of disjointed vertical lines a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure which way I would have rather have gone, but I definitely feel like I colored in the progress section of this a little bit too much. I do like sort of this separated line look of just the colors here, which I used throughout the weekly section, especially because I was going to be using this section to actually write in, so it was helpful for it to be a little bit more like something you could write on. And once again, these the exact number of lines I would not examine too closely. It was definitely much more of a heartfelt action than anything calculated. The number of lines on these pages does not evenly divide by 6, so just kind of went with what looked good. But it did come out well, as much as I am lamenting this one page. I think it's just because everything else looks so good. So got lots of color, a lot of pride. Happy June. Thanks a lot.